Welcome to Gracefully and Frankly, episode 123. Will it be easy? I'm not sure. Listen to me, oh God. I'm Erin Davis.
I'm Lisa Brandt, and I'm where I usually am, and you are in a hotel room. Are you under a blanket or in a closet, or where are you?
You know what? I am under a blanket. I was going to sit up at the desk like a grown-up, and then I thought, no, I want to be comfortable. I want to be wrapped up here with two dogs at my side, Rob puttering around, trying to fix my iWatch, and just be comfortable because I haven't spent enough time in bed the last few days, but it's been just wonderful. So good.
You've been so busy with it being Easter and, of course, having Colin and Jane at your availability. So did you go and see the Globetrotters?
Yes, and that wasn't even a highlight of the time we were here, Lisa.
Oh.
From arriving Wednesday night, Thursday we did a place called Fun Haven, which is all rides and roller coasters and ballrooms, not the fancy kind, but the ones where kids throw stuff at each other. And games and bumper cars. We were going into each other and laughing so hard. And then dinner out. And then Friday we swam at the hotel pool for a while. And I think that's really where the family cold got a chance to settle in because the water wasn't as warm as your poor pampered puss likes it. So then Saturday was the Harlem Globetrotters and they were exceptional.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so great. Oh, I'm just so glad you're having this time with them. And I cannot believe in the time. I mean, once in a while, Brooke will send me a photo of the kids or whatever, and they're doing something, which I really appreciate. But it's been a while, I think, since I've seen a close-up of Colin, and he is changing. They're both changing so much.
Oh, are they ever? And Jane lost a front tooth the day we arrived, and another front tooth 2 days later. There was almost a collision in the night in their house between the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. It would have been pandemonium. I mean, how do you handle traffic like that? Jeez.
I just don't know. Do they have walkie-talkies or what? Oh, that's really sweet.
Oh, so you talk for a bit. What was your Easter like?
Oh, it was the same as always. It was our little Easter feaster where my brother comes up with his dog and I just sort of make whatever I feel like. And this time it was roasted root vegetables and potatoes, bacon-wrapped turkey roll, beans and mushrooms and gravy and stuff. And I made a raisin pie for Derek. Kevin doesn't eat dessert. You know, it's so easy. And as he's leaving, he goes, "You sure went to a lot of fuss." And it's like, you know what? I really kind of didn't.
Aww.
You know? But you're worth it. That was really it. We did a lot of walking and a lot of stuff around the house. And, you know, I'm still writing like a lunatic. And that was it.
I'm so enjoying book one.
I can't believe it. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Pieces of Us, Felicity and Mitzi. I'm on about chapter 24 now, and I haven't even looked ahead to see how many more chapters because I don't want it to end.
Oh, that's so nice. Book 2 is supposed to be in November, but I think I'm going to have it ready much earlier, and then I'm writing book 3. So we'll see where I go from there. Maybe this is a new career. Maybe this is just some fun. I don't know.
It's wonderful.
But thank you for reading it.
Good to hear you had a nice Easter. And then, of course, we woke up on Easter Monday to the news that Pope Francis had passed away.
Yeah.
His funeral, of course, will be this Saturday.
And then they're going to get about choosing a new pope, which, of course, is their own timeline. It's all secretive and very quiet until we see the puff of smoke.
Yes, but if you really want a look at the inside workings of how a pope is chosen, with some fiction, of course, and a great little twist in it as well, do see the film Conclave with Ralph Fiennes and John Lithgow and Stanley Tucci and Isabella Rossellini. It's just, it's a great, great film. And they did such a good job of making us feel like we were there for the choosing of the Pope. It really, really interesting. And of course, this will be a long drawn out process. There is no replacing such a Pope of the people as Pope Francis. And one of the things that sticks out in my mind about him is that he had showers installed outside the Vatican so that the unhoused could shower.
Yeah.
And this is who he was. He was more Christ-like than many of the popes we've ever seen in our lifetimes.
So true. Last year, he had comedians come, including so many names we know, Jim Gaffigan, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all these people. And he wanted to let them have a day so that their importance was sort of focused on. But just such a kind and decent man. I love that one of the last things he did was talk to J.D. Vance, the American vice president, because they were in such opposition. And it was sort of a chance for him to show his benevolence and his love to this person who he disagrees with on so many levels. But that's the kind of decent person we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Not J.D. Vance, the Pope.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that years ago when he was asked about gay marriage and his answer was, who am I to judge?
Yeah.
And that must have made some of the old school leaders just furious, but he said it anyway.
Well, and it's the truth, though, isn't it, Erin? If you believe judgment will come, who are you to judge, right?
Absolutely.
Who are we to judge if your belief is that Judgment Day is going to happen? Again, it goes back to Mel Robbins. Let them.
Exactly. Next time we do an episode, Lisa, there will have been an election. And the election that seems like it's been going on for years because one party's been running ads for that long will be over. And you're going to be volunteering on Monday as well.
Yeah, I took the day off because I'm my own boss and I can. And I volunteered to drive people to the polls. There are a lot of people who can't make it otherwise, so I'm hoping to be very busy, an unpaid Uber for voters. What about you?
We're going to be volunteering as well. Now, as you know, we have the grown-up car, as we call it, which seats 4 comfortably, could seat 5, but we also have the mini convertible. So I told everybody at the last rally I was at, I said, look, if you've got a 90-year-old when you're volunteering, when you're door knocking, who has a bucket list wish to be in a top-down convertible. And I did hear from somebody who said, I found your bucket list lady. She wants to go to the polls with you.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. And of course, we also learned when we went to the advanced polls what not to wear.
Do you mean beyond buttons for a candidate?
Yeah, you're not supposed to wear buttons. If you're working at the polls, you're not supposed to wear red or blue or orange or green. So I guess we're getting down to basic black pretty soon here. But yeah, nothing at all that would sort of sway anyone in any direction. But honestly, if you're going to get in there ready to vote and you see somebody in a blue t-shirt and go, oh yeah, I'm going to vote that, I don't think we really need your vote.
Yeah, either way, if you're swayed that easily by the color of a t-shirt, that's right. That kind of does leave, what, black and brown and yellow, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Beige. Always beige. But you know, though, when you bring up the colors, there are different colors that are associated with workplaces that they're really starting to look into. In fact, there was a story in the Wall Street Journal about energizing your workplace or wherever you may want to work, like wherever you do your writing, Lisa, so that the color will inspire you.
Huh. Maybe that would keep me focused. All right. Tell me more. Tell me more.
For focus, you want peacock blue.
Huh.
Yes. If you have a coal black door, that means no go. You're not to go in there for some reason. I'm thinking this is more in the office than in your home.
Right.
Usually that's the bathroom door in the home. But anyway, warm, energetic orange fosters group socialization.
You're making me actually want to paint the room that I write in.
What color is it now?
Meh.
Okay.
It's light silver. We just had the whole house painted that until we moved in and decided if we wanted to make some changes. So it's like a kind of a creamy silver, light though.
They're doing research on welcoming people back to the workplace who, of course, have enjoyed so much having been working from home. So what's going to make people feel more comfortable where they're working? Saturated colors have the capacity to change our respiration, our blood pressure, even our body temperature. So they're talking about really bright, deep colors. A pale colored or richly colored room were the two that they compared. And participants in the pale blue or pale yellow room had lower heart rates, so they were calmer and more relaxed. But if you were in a vivid yellow or a vivid blue room, you experienced higher reading comprehension scores.
That makes sense because when you think about a hospital's color scheme and how muted it is and how meh, really.
Yeah.
The yellow and the green that don't have any name in nature because they're just so muted, it makes sense that it would be there to calm you. So you'd want the opposite of that. I get it. Wow.
Yeah, beige is boring. That's why they call it builder beige. It's just
Right.
It's just paint, right? It's easy to say, but it is just paint. You're bold with your colors. We have to plan to do that as we move more and more into the condo. Take the leap, do the paint, and conjure up the feelings we want to feel.
Yeah, well, you have those beautiful black accents on that one wall that I just think is amazing. There's an awful lot more we could do.
Yeah, there always is. And when you talk about our black wall, it is PVC black tiles that we painted the wall black and then adhered these tiles, and they all have texture. And yeah, they make a statement, and that's what we needed, a statement wall.
And the statement is, look at me, I am bold.
Yeah. While we're talking about making your home, sometimes it's time to move on. And that's what Sharon was calling about from Duncan, BC, which is just south of Nanaimo, so not too far from Victoria. And here's the call. Lisa, it's directed to you. You ready?
Ready.
Hi, Lisa and Aaron. Sharon here. 20 years ago, my husband and I took early retirement and moved from Toronto to Vancouver Island. As much as we love the West Coast, it is now time for us to think about moving back to Ontario to be closer to family. After much research, we keep coming back to Port Stanley. I would really like your thoughts, likes and dislikes, Lisa, about this area from a local's point of view. Thanks very much, ladies. Bye.
Oh, fantastic. So that came through gracefullyandfrankly.com. Wonderful, Sharon. If you want to join us here in Port Stanley, what can I tell you about it? One of the reasons we moved here is because it's so walkable. It's a place we often came to spend some time by the lake to take in the water vibes. We are also just 10, 15 minutes from St. Thomas if we need anything else. We don't have a doctor here. We have a dentist's office. There's a rumor of a doctor's office opening, but I wouldn't bank on that just in case, you know.
Restaurants and spas and stuff, too.
And when it gets really busy on the weekends, when the crowds from nearby cities roll in for the different activities or whatever, we just plan ahead and plan that we're not going to go down into the village and get caught up in the melee unless we want to. Sometimes special boats come in and it's really cool to go down in the crowds, or there's a professional theater here and we'll go see a play or whatever. So an awful lot to do and see. It just depends on the kind of lifestyle you're looking for, you know?
And there's a beach. Let's talk about the beach.
Well, there are 4, but the one beach, the main beach, is a blue flag beach. It's renowned over the world for its cleanliness and how big it is and friendly and close to food and all those things. It's what most people come here for. It's really large and it's super clean. It's funny because they call Port Stanley a mullet. The river is the dividing part, Kettle Creek, that leads out to Lake Erie. We are living on the side of business in the front, where the shops and restaurants and those kind of things are. And then when you cross the river, it's party in the back, closer to the main beach, where the bars with all the bands and all those kinds of things are. So, for example, Fern, a woman who lives here, who is a listener to Gracefully and Frankly, she lives on that other side.
Hi, Fern.
She has a cottage there. She doesn't live there year-round, I don't think. So there are little pockets of both. You got to come visit.
All right, you've looked at real estate prices in British Columbia because we just want to be that close to each other. How do the house prices compare with, say, Nanaimo or Duncan and Port Stanley, Lisa? Off the top of your head, no one's going to hold you to it.
Oh, boy. I'd say you're looking at 2/3 of what you pay out there. The other thing is, though, you can get a really nice place for $800,000-$900,000 here. The real estate ecosystem here does sort of follow the trends, but it's also its own thing. Port Stanley, because it is mostly a tourist town, it is a little bit different. Prices are a little soft right now. It's a great time to buy. not a great time to sell. I've seen some people have to drop their prices a few times, and that's just how it goes with real estate, right?
We've dropped ours again last week.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I hope you get some action.
Sorry, not about me. Anyway, well, I think you've more than answered Sharon's question. We're happy to to do that for you. That's wonderful, Lisa. And I know I do love visiting there because you're so darn proud of living in Port Stanley.
I love it. And we've gotten to know the merchants. We try and buy anything we need here first before we go elsewhere. And 9 times out of 10, we're successful. So it's a great little lifestyle.
And of course, it's the Envy pillow that is in your bed that makes it feel like home, no matter where you are. And you're always supporting Canadian. I was so delighted, Lisa, when I unpacked the suitcases and Rob's suitcase had my weighted blanket and 2 Envy pillows, the travel sizes. We just don't leave home without them. We've got the dogs, we've got the carriers, we've got the Envy pillows. They're everything you could want, even in your bed full time at home. You can pretend you're on a trip.
If I didn't have the full-size one, I would be fine with the travel one always.
Find out more at envypillow.com. It's ENVY pillow.com. Find out why Lisa and I and Rob and the dogs and probably Cuddles all love our Envy pillows. And of course, get 10% off using the code GF. Did you hear about my little hometown of Sydney making Forbes magazine?
I did not, but I think I'm about to.
I don't know. Should I tell you in episode 123? Because it sounds a little bit like I'm trying to say, but no, wait, Port Stanley sounds great, but listen to Sydney. No, I'll keep this brief. In addition to having, of course, the Sydney Opera House, which is in reality a very small band shell in our backyard over the ocean, but we call it the Sydney Opera House.
That's awesome.
Forbes magazine has named Sydney as one of the 3 great places to retire in Canada.
Wow.
How about that? Yeah. And if I ever retire, I'll be sure and tell you about it.
It is a gorgeous place, though. It's got everything.
It has natural beauty, mild weather, welcoming community, high quality lifestyle for retirees seeking friendly people. Oh my God. And everybody has a little dog and they all know each other's backsides now. Beautiful landscapes and excellent health care. Forbes described Sydney as the most popular retirement destination in all of Canada, emphasizing our warmer winters compared to much of the rest of the country. But do you want to hear the other 2 places in Canada?
Okay.
One of them should be Port Stanley. You keep working on that.
All right.
Alongside Sydney was Canmore, Alberta, which is kind of right next to Banff National Park, and we have loved Canmore for 40 years.
I have cousins living there. Yeah.
Lucky them. And Prince Edward County.
That's where my dad's from.
The gastronomic capital of Ontario. Lauded for its small, friendly communities and diverse attractions, making it an ideal destination for retirees seeking simple, small-town living right there around Picton. Isn't that neat?
That is really neat. They just call it the county in my family. They don't even say the whole thing because that's where they're from, Picton. And, oh, yeah, it's a beautiful area. Wow, that's really cool.
Well, get Port Stanley on that list. You know, if we've learned anything about this campaign and about us, it's about something we already knew, the importance of volunteering, which we do, but of just how your life changes when you really do get in there deeply with your community.
Yeah, it makes a big, big difference. And moving around in radio, I did an awful lot.
Yep.
You know, you make friends, then you uproot and you leave them. And some you stay friends with, some you don't. And it makes such a difference to just see the same people and have them give a care, as we used to say.
Really, truly. If you can get Port Stanley on the list, boy, is that ever something to aspire to, huh?
Well, the beach is a start. We have a couple of empty storefronts right now, which is really annoying. So we have to get them filled up.
Wouldn't it be neat if we could put our Queenager merch in there? I mean, we're doing really well at gracefullyandfrankly.com, but, you know, just to have people in there and make the Queenager dream come true. If you're looking for Queenager t-shirts, we've got them in all colors, all sizes, including the double, triple XL. We don't overcharge for those or upcharge. And of course, heart earrings and pendants that you're going to love or someone in your family will love for Mother's Day. So it's super easy to visit it at gracefullyandfrankly.com. But still, a storefront would be nice.
I'm always collecting things for the retail shop I don't have. So I've been doing it for decades, yeah.
They used to call that just clutter, you know. Mm-hmm. No, this is for the store.
Let's talk food for a minute, shall we?
Oh, always.
There was a report out of the U.S. Now, this is a little gross, but it's okay. E. coli was found in lettuce in 15 states, all from one farm, and the FDA never said anything to Americans about it. One person died from it, and there were hundreds of cases. So now all these families are suing, saying you should have warned us. But the thing I learned about it was that, I learned two things. One, the FDA does not have to tell people publicly that there is a case like this going on. It's not mandatory. And the second thing is merely washing lettuce in water gets rid of 93.5% of stuff, including E. coli.
Wow.
And you don't have to have anything special. You don't have to douse it in vinegar and then have everything taste like vinegar. Just basically rinse it off. I can't believe the number of bugs and things that I get out of romaine lettuce and stuff like that just from letting it sit and soak for a while. But, you wonder how this stuff gets in. And some of it's fertilizer, but it's also handled by people's hands before it's put into a bag. And so it's just sort of a bit of a cautionary tale about scrubbing and soaking and that kind of thing.
Okay. And spinning. Those spinners are a great thing.
I wish I had one. I don't have a spinner.
Well, there's a giant one on at Costco I saw the other day, but you don't go into Costco, so never mind. Okay.
I'm the only Canadian that doesn't have a Costco membership. Yeah.
Well, I do know that we both love asparagus, and this time of year means asparagus season, right?
Yes, it does. I absolutely love it. Derek doesn't, though. Rob eats it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he'll eat it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, remember when I lived in Willowdale, that house with the pool?
Yes.
It had been treated, that whole area had been treated for termites, the whole neighborhood. So we weren't supposed to grow anything in the soil for another 3 years or whatever. But one giant asparagus spear would come up every summer. And it would have to be 3 feet tall. And I had never seen asparagus growing before. So it's really kind of cool to see how it grows. But it's so full of good stuff, vitamins and minerals and fiber and pea smell. And no.
That fiber is called inulin, and it helps nourish the good bacteria in your gut. And that helps prevent inflammation in your intestines and can even help prevent inflammatory bowel disease and colon cancer. So the fiber is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it helps your brain function too. A healthy gut microbiome could help you think smart. I got to leave that in. I'm blaming the cold medication for them. Could help you think.
You are a trooper because I know you're not feeling 100%. So the fact that you're into this is pretty cool.
It could help your eyesight. It can help prevent slow age-related macular degeneration. And that's all vitamin K as well. But you mentioned the pea smell, Miss Lisa, so we're going there. Right after I ask you, did you eat the giant asparagus? Because everybody wants to know.
No, we weren't supposed to eat anything grown in that soil. No.
Now, here's the question. Would it have stopped me? No, it would not. Okay. There is nothing wrong with you if you notice that nutty smell after you've eaten asparagus. Certain compounds in it contain the chemical sulfur, which is known, as we know, for its pungent scent. And when your body breaks down these compounds, some of that sulfur can end up in your wee. There you go.
Wow. I didn't know. It doesn't really smell like sulfur anymore. Pea sulfur. Yeah.
And as for etiquette, whether you pick it up or you cut it up, it doesn't matter. Just enjoy it. Live it up. Asparagus season is far too short.
You're reminding me of Phoebe in Friends when she gets a cold and loves how Lauren Bacall her voice becomes.
Oh, really?
And and then, of course, her cold goes away and she gets her old voice back. There's nothing wrong with her old voice, but you are reminding me of that right now. Very sexy.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I will tell you, it's been raining on and off, and we had some wild thunderstorms. But when those are not happening, we're out doing our long walks and enjoying it much more regularly than we were even just a month ago. And with the knees and the ankles and the other joints not screaming at me because of Sierra Sil, it is so much more enjoyable. All the steps, the stairs, it's very hilly here. So you go down the big hill and up the other hill. And I would persevere, but it's just so much better when there isn't that pain happening. And Sierra Sil is what's doing it. I've always known it works, but is it ever neat to experience it?
Yeah, no kidding. And knowing that you're putting an all-natural product into your body. Well, I'll tell you, Sierra Sil kept Rob pain-free, whether it was bowling, baseball, basketball. Okay, this is sounding like a mini-pack commercial. But seriously, you can do all those things. Horseback riding, too. Tennis. But if you can't keep up with your grandkids because it just hurts too much, or your husband in the case of your walking, Lisa, give these patented capsules a try. They're tested way beyond industry requirements. They're all Canadian, and they do come with that money-back guarantee. You'll feel a difference in your joint pain within 14 days of starting, or your money back.
Check them out, sierrasil.com, Sierra like the mountains, SIL.com, and you'll get 14% off with the code GF. So we buried the lead here because I forgot to ask you how the dogs were on the flight.
Well, they did really, really well. We gave them a CBD chewy in the morning just so that, we could get them into their travel bags without too much resistance. And we thought, okay, we'll give them another pill, like a real tranquilizer, after the first leg when we've landed in Edmonton. Well, the turnaround there was so fast. They went to their little potty facilities, used the AstroTurf perfectly. They performed on demand. It was perfect. But we didn't have time to give them their pill rolled up in stinky cheese. And I wasn't going to do that on the plane because nobody likes stinky food on the plane.
Right.
So they did well. Livy slept most of the way. Dottie, I think, just shivered and shook and panted because when we finally landed in Ottawa, she must have drunk about a liter of water. She was so thirsty. So we're going to make sure on the return trip, they are completely medicated, just chill, having a good time. But honestly, they were great and so happy to see their sister from another mister who now lives with Brooke and Phil and Colin and Jane, their little Sammy. And they just frolicked and played for the entire time we were there. So it was really worth bringing them. And yeah, I think they're travel ready for next winter if we are.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It'll be good to be home in the wee small hours. By the time you hear this, we will be home. We'll be all ready to rev our engines for whatever is coming next Monday in Canada. Super excited about it. And I love how there are no hockey playoff games set for election night in Canada. That's just, It's so perfectly Canadian, isn't it?
It totally is. Well, this is another reason why we could never be a U.S. state.
That's exactly right. And I saw that the other night when Montreal was playing the Capitals and they didn't sing part of the Canadian anthem in French. And Rob said, this would be us in the U.S. The French doesn't matter. So I hope our Quebecois neighbors and listeners are paying close attention because you matter.
Yes.
We love you.
Yes, absolutely. We are not Canada without you.
Nous vous aimons.
All right, my dear, please take care of yourself and feel better, okay?
And thank you to you for listening to me with my little bit of croaky voice. I could have done it entirely like this, but nobody wants It's a Coffee Lover's Dream. Wasn't that Lauren Bacall? I'm not sure.
I think it's more Brenda Vaccaro, except you need to talk about tampons and be very breathy.
Oh, yes. That was kind of a smoking thing, I think, with Ms. Vaccaro. I'm not sure.
So.
Rob would like me to sound like Kathleen Turner. Oh, my goodness. Well, you have a great weekend, and we shall talk to you after the election.
Yes, ma'am.
Au revoir. À bientôt.
All right. Safe travels. Bye.
Bye-bye.